Welcome to Visionaries Global Media, your number one source for podcasting entertainment. Visionaries Global Media, envisioning excellence on a global scale.
This is Banned from Ringside.
Tonight on the Banned from Ringside podcast, Big E Langston, or just Big E, becomes your new WWE heavyweight champion. We also have a new champion and a new NXT look, a whole new NXT 2.0. AEW is going with a 4-hour show next week, which seems like a little bit much to me. We might also talk a little bit about the PWI 500 and the G1, that and a whole bunch more tonight on the Banned from Ringside podcast. That 9 to 5. It's time to feel alive. Hello, Marks, and welcome to the Banned from Ringside podcast. As always, I'm your host, Bill Vagey, a.k.a. Shot to the Smark, and you're to blame. You eat pins and kayfabe. And sitting right across from me, we have Jason Cornelius Bell. What's going on, JCB?
I was starting to rock out and shit, getting my dirty and dance Bruce Springsteen shit. On that lovely note,
it's not Bruce Springsteen's Bon Jovi.
I know. It was a different joke. It was a different joke. Never mind. Jesus. Allow us to bow our heads as Bill's not getting my jokes as I read from the latest edition of the Banned from Ringside podcast. Volume 223, Chapter 3, Verse 14. And the good smart saith, hashtag boo the heels. It is all good, baby. Listen, share, subscribe, repeat. The Holy Trinity of BFR. I'll say this. I can tell the Young Bucks apart. Can you?
No.
Okay, so y'all motherfuckers don't all look alike. Interesting week of wrestling. Obviously, some titles been changing hands. NXT was different, good and bad. I'm waiting. I want to hear what you guys think about the NXT thing, to be perfectly honest, but we'll get to that in a little bit.
Oddly enough, I have thoughts. And out there in Portland, Oregon, we have
BFR West.
Two Beer, Zach. What's going on, Two Beer?
I'm just barely holding it together here. I've been drinking too much.
Oh,
not today, just all week. So
damn.
Yeah.
Oh, you got me all excited and shit.
No. I'm being a good boy right now.
Meet the new Zach, same as the old Zach. We are coming at you from. It's beautiful out here in Missouri. It is it's just gorgeous, and we're sitting here in South City, St. Louis, at Jason Cornelius Bell's beautiful apartment. I already had my kid. You guys already stopped buying Bill's Beer Company, so we have no sponsors. So just Venmo me at William-Vagey.
Yeah, right. Just cut straight to the source.
Picture of me is with a cowboy hat, so go ahead and get at me.
I think we should use somebody's Venmo that's easier to spell.
That's a good point, like Jason Bell.
You fucked that one up. You got some problems.
That's your slave name, though. I mean,
yeah, that's my government name.
That's your government name.
Yeah, true story.
It's Jaay.
I was about to say, who the fuck puts a Y in Jason? Oh, that drives me up the fucking wall. They're like Jaay. I'm like, no, bitch, no. Guys, who puts the Y in Jason?
I got a screaming. Sorry, man.
Ooh.
Screaming, crying baby at home.
Let's do this shit
with diaper rash. I always tell her, I was like, let's put some Desitin on that ass. Let's get to that 3 count.
Put some Tussin on that shit.
Jason, what's the 1 count?
It's a new day. Yes, it is. Big E cashes in the Money in the Bank briefcase on one Bobby Lashley on Monday night. It was interesting. It kind of just fell out of nowhere as far as I was concerned. I was here Monday afternoon, and I was on Twitter probably giving somebody some shit about a bad wrestling take. And I looked over and I saw Big E trending. And I always go over to see when anybody's trending because it could be, good, bad, indifferent, depending on who the person is trending. So I
should have gotten Me Too'd.
True story. So I looked over there and I saw Big E trending. So I clicked on there, and the first tweet was basically from Big E. It was like, I'm letting the cat out of the bag. I'm planning to cash in the Money in the Bank briefcase tonight on Monday Night Raw. Now, if you watched SmackDown on Friday night, Big E did also say that he was going to be on Raw on Monday night. So that was kind of the precursor to this. Not saying that he was going to cash in. He said the cash in on Monday afternoon. It was maybe like 1, 2 Central Standard Time. So immediately that was, it was already, if it wasn't a buzz from SmackDown, it was definitely a buzz for Monday afternoon when he sent this tweet out. So obviously we go to Monday night, and the scheduled title match was Bobby Lashley versus Randy Orton. Bobby Lashley retains, and then after the match, he decides he is going to destroy both Orton and Matt Riddle on the outside. Now, in the process thereof, he sustains a knee injury of some sort. I'm assuming this is a work knee injury, not a clear shoot one. Neither here nor there. He limps back into the ring and clearly is not ready to compete. And then Big E's music hits. He comes down the ring with purpose, Money in the Bank in hand, and gives it up. And they officially say that Big E is going to cash in. And Lashley is still hurt. And it goes to commercial. I'm like, you motherfuckers, come on, man. Let's just get this shit done. Comes back from commercial. They struggle for a little bit. For that match, the Orton match was the better match. Let's just get that out there. Randy Orton, once again, proving that I think as easy as he makes it look, it's not that easy, and he is one of the better wrestlers that we have on the WWE roster. Now, that being said, this second match was definitely more about Lashley being hurt versus Big E being dominant. Big E takes advantage of it, hits the big ending, and gets the 1, 2, 3, and becomes the new WWE champion. Now, people are saying that they are doing this because of Monday Night Football. People are saying that they're doing this because of the AEW momentum that is going on. It could be a little of both. My personal opinion is they were going to do this anyway at some point. Maybe they pushed it up a little bit, the same way they did it for Becky. They moved her up a little bit. She was supposed to come back in October. They moved her up. So everything is starting to move up. I don't necessarily think this is a bad thing because ultimately they were going to do this regardless. And now we're getting ultimately a better product from it. That's why I don't have a huge problem with it. He cashed in on the right person. Roman Reigns is still going to have his story. Now Big E's going to have his own story. Fingers crossed, which they should do. They'll have the rematch, Lashley versus Big E at Extreme Rules. Big E goes over, and then Survivor Series, if they do it like they've done it the years before, this is where we'll get Big E versus Roman, champion versus champion. That's a story I can get down with.
Zach, what are your thoughts on Big E cashing in on Money in the Bank and winning the belt?
Oh, I think it's awesome. I agree with Jason. I think it was probably going to happen, but it got pushed up a little bit. I actually watched all of SmackDown and the Hulu version of Raw this week, which is about 3.5 hours more. Yeah, 3.5 hours more of WWE than I usually watch.
SmackDown was good.
SmackDown was good.
We'll get to SmackDown awesome. Later. Yeah,
it was a great show. But yeah, I mean, they're definitely being reactionary. But if I'm not going to blame them for it, and I'm not going to talk down about it because it's giving us a better product. Now, Raw was not nearly as good of a show as SmackDown was, but it just kind of won't be by nature because of that extra third hour and the extra padding. But Big E taking the title, super cool. The original plan was to have RK Bros in the main event, and they had set that up the previous week. So you know that they were definitely changing plans, but they do that all the time, and it's fine. This was a good change. Big E getting the title in an historic win. First time a black man takes the title from another black man, so that was pretty cool.
You
and Big E's just the coolest. But yeah, I'm stoked about it. Like, we're getting reactions, we're getting things that we want to see faster than we would normally get them, or maybe in the fact of maybe we wouldn't even see some of these things at all. Mm-hmm. So I'm down.
There's no doubt they pushed it up.
Yeah,
there's no doubt they
pushed it up.
How much they
pushed it up is neither here nor there.
It's pretty rare I don't mind baby faces calling their shot with the Money in the Bank. And I know that I've seen people that have been critical of this cash in because it seems so transparently. You're going against Monday Night Football. AEW has been they've hijacked the conversation when it comes around when you're talking about the wrestling conversation in the culture. That being said, Big E winning is just perfect, man. Like it's a guy. It's really what the Money in the Bank should be. The Money in the Bank should be taking a guy who's mid card or upper mid card and immediately vaulting him into the top of the card to where he can wrestle house shows. Even if he loses, sometime in the next 2 or 3 months, even if he loses that, he's a guy that can wrestle against their top card guys at house shows. The Black to Black championship is nothing to sneeze at because it's the first time it's ever happened, and we're in 2021 and there's been plenty of black performers in the WWE, so having a black guy win from a black guy is also really very...
It's historic.
I mean, it's historic. It's momentous.
For what it is.
If you listen to Big E, if you've ever listened to an interview with Big E, he is salt of the earth, legit. Like he's a great dude that roots for everybody. I didn't know this. I just listened to an interview with him on the way out here. He was great friends with Brody Lee, so much so that Brody Lee's widow FaceTimed him the next day to talk about it. He Brody Lee's son considers Big E his best friend, tells all the kids at school, all that shit. That's all.
They were like best friends.
Yes, and that's all really feel-good stuff. I love it. I love that Big E won. It makes the product more interesting as long as they don't take it off him anytime soon. Let's see him fight Goldberg. Listen, I love Lashley. I do, and I think Lashley has done great work as a champion. I think this is Lashley's best run as a professional wrestler, and I watched some of his Impact stuff. I want them to keep it on Big E so that we can have fresh matchups against opponents that we haven't seen for the belt for a while. Let's keep it on this motherfucker for a while. He's a great wrestler. He's a great personality. I wouldn't mind him being a little bit more serious. I wouldn't mind if the New Day broke up. Apparently they say they never want to break up. That's not up to them. Like as a fan, I don't care if they say they never want to break up because as a fan, I want to see them break up and get back together. Jason, what do you think?
I wrote 2 things down where you were talking about that because I didn't want to interrupt you. 2 things. First thing is,
thank you.
Yeah, every now and then I have a good idea. You were talking about people were critical about the Big E cash in. Well, this is one of the few times where a babyface has the Money in the Bank. The heel cash in, I think, should be the fuckery cash in. I'm going to catch you slipping, after, you've defeated 6 guys in the Elimination Chamber. Here comes Edge. Shit like that. The babyface cash in should be more like John Cena, should be more like Big E. Here's the shot. I'm going to call it now. I'm going to meet you at this time on this date. Straight up, it's coming. So just deal with it.
It's a babyface move.
It's a babyface move. So I don't necessarily have a problem with that.
I think most people's problem was with him coming out, saying he's cashing in, and them going to a commercial break.
That was a bit of a problem. That's when I was just like, okay, come on, man. Let's just keep this shit rolling.
Yeah. I mean, that sucked.
You have this momentum. This is the moment we've been waiting for. It's the last time I've been excited since Lashley took the title. So I was like, let's do this shit.
And that's how you know it was just a play to grab more viewers because everybody wants to.
Oh shit!
Sure
It's going down. Yeah. So now I was like, okay, let me get in position. Can't miss nothing. Monday Night Football. I don't have anybody on my fantasy team in Monday night, so I was like, definitely kiss my ass.
That being said, my favorite cash-ins are the ones where the guy's not completely out of gas, and then there's like a little because it was probably a 2 or 3 minute thing, and. Lashley speared him. He speared the fuck out of him. And then you thought that, shit, Lashley's going to take him. Zach, what do you think?
Oh, yeah. I think it's pretty much, if you're a baby face, you have to call out, especially if you're going to take advantage of the wrestler after a match, because that's like a total heel move. Like the babyface should welcome any challenger, right? They shouldn't be sneaky. And I mean, here you got a little bit of both. You got him just being a smart guy, very, taking advantage, but not, necessarily in a sneaky way.
Right.
So I think it's good.
The other thing I was going to say was you were talking about hoping that Big E has a little run with the title. If you wanted to stop and think about it, like I said, we got Extreme Rules. That's your October pay-per-view. Survivor Series. And I'm just assuming, let's just assume he beats Lashley in the rematch. November is Survivor Series. That's straight up against Roman Reigns. It doesn't matter. It's just going to be a good-ass match. So you have December.
Well, if he holds it. The only WWE pay-per-view that occurs in October is the Blood in the Sand.
Oh, that's right. Extreme Rules is in 2 weeks.
Right. We're talking about Saudi Arabia.
He'll hold it.
You think Big E is going to go over there and face Goldberg?
No, Goldberg has Lashley. Goldberg has Lashley. They're the Saudi Arabia match.
Oh, interesting. So you're thinking that Big E is facing a mystery opponent?
Fill in the blank.
Randy Orton?
Seth Rollins and Big E apparently have had some dark matches on the road as they've been going throughout the United States, traveling on house shows. So that has led to some speculation that Seth Rollins gets drafted because the draft is that October 1st and 4th, SmackDown and Raw respectively.
When you talk about breathing life into the main roster of WWE, though, Big E holding the championship, it's the definition of it.
It's a start.
It makes me want to watch. It makes me want to watch Raw, though.
Yeah, it's a start, but then you have to put people against him. Okay, Drew versus Big E. I'm just going with the way the roster stands right now. Drew versus Big E. Okay, I can get down with that. Orton versus Big E. I can get down with that. AJ versus Big E. I can get down with that. Now from there,
AJ. I didn't even think about AJ.
Now from there, this is where we're gonna start. Maybe Riddle, depending on what your storyline is or whatever the case may be. But even before that, you still have the draft. The draft will be basically the October pay-per-view as far as I'm concerned in my mind, because that'll switch everything up. That will set up whatever December is. I would assume Big E wins his December defense, and then you go into January 2022. That's Royal Rumble. That's the one where you might want to circle that as a possible hiccup. If they wanted to say, okay, this shit ain't working, that's when I think they bail.
Two beer, Zach. Who do you want to see Big E? How long do you think that Big E is going to hold the belt?
I would say probably, if I had to guess, at least till the Rumble. And yeah, that's kind of thinking the same line with Jason. As far as opponents, I don't know who I necessarily really want to see him face, except I would like the New Day to take the tag belt so they turn the Survivor Series thing into a
nigga,
six-man.
You stole my thunder. You stole my thunder. That's the one. Make it a 6-man and just do it.
Yeah, that would be so fun.
That would be
New Day versus the Bloodline?
Hell yeah!
Yep.
I mean,
New Day Bloodline, but with Roman and Big E,
as the leaders of the respective factions. Just do it as a mini 6-man Survivor Series kind of thing.
Am I in the complete minority where I think that I would rather see Big E just kind of branch out as I know he's not going to. He's not going to branch out as a singles wrestler. But don't you kind of want to see just Big E just see what he can do?
I think this is going to be the same thing that it was with Kofi's run, just Big E being Kofi instead of, they're all going to be together, but when Big E has his first challenge, that's when Big E will step to the forefront and he'll be that guy that Kofi was. We had the same kind of, can Kofi be serious? Can Kofi be serious? Yeah, I think when push comes to shove, Randy Orton, he got serious as fuck. When push comes to shove, when somebody is going to want Big E's title that he's, worked so hard and so long to get to, that's when I think the rubber meets the road. We'll see serious Big E.
All right. Any final thoughts on Big E's big win? 2 Beer Zach.
No, but he keeps messing around. They're going to take that second name off him. He's just going to be either Big or E.
Yeah, I know. Vince really needs to own the name. So Big and E they're both very Big E together.
He's got it.
He can't own it. No, he's got to own it. He's got to own it. He's just going to be Langston.
You bet not, man.
Anyway, kudos to Big E.
Yeah, for sure.
That interview I listened to with him was, he just seems like a top-notch dude.
Dude, when you have guys from all different promotions coming over, bringing you flowers, and not giving a rat's ass about some
even Bray
bullshit.
Wyatt broke kayfabe on Twitter.
Was just like, when he came out, I was like, well, damn. Okay, that's when you know how good of a human being Big E Langston is. Yeah. Okay, from that point, I don't care really what happens for the length of the run. As long as he gets to Royal Rumble, I'm good, because that feels like it'll be a few months where you can tell a story.
I'll take the under.
No way. He is going to get to Royal Rumble 2022 as
I think
champion.
he might lose at Extreme Rules.
No way.
Let's get to that 2 count. Two Beer, what's the 2 count?
2 count will go with NXT 2.0, keeping with the WWE theme. So
that's a big WWE podcast over
here. When was the last time we did the 2 count as WWE 1 and 2, like off the bat?
Don't know.
You have to go back pretty far.
Right. Before AEW.
Yeah. And, definitely newsworthy. And this is something that, it was WWE programming that I was looking forward to, because regardless of what you think of it, and we can get into that, it was definitely, had some hype around it because it's new, right? And it was a mixed bag. Yeah. There was some positives and negatives, but I thought the show was kind of refreshing and better. I thought NXT had kind of gotten stale, right? And I don't think it's the worst thing in the world for it to change gears, even though we all knew and loved NXT for a very long time, but it kind of hadn't necessarily become, what we had known and loved. But, it opens with a hip hop song, which is completely antithetical to every other NXT, which is always metal, Triple H's influence there. And really, it just seems like not only are they going for actual developmental, but they're going for a younger crowd. And they got it in the ratings. They definitely had an increased 18 to 34 crowd. The look of the show is a lot better. I don't know why it took them so long to improve the look of the show when they have unlimited money, but I really did like the look of the show. It is still funny that they kind of stole the AEW Dynamite, the color blotches. Very, very similar. But, the theme of the show was new, and we had new talent right out of the gate. We had Braun Breaker, who's Rick Steiner's son. And even though he looks exactly like Rick Steiner and he wears a singlet exactly like Rick Steiner and he's built exactly like Rick Steiner, nobody's allowed to say the words Rick Steiner, even though Rick Steiner was half of one of the greatest tag teams of all time and was in the WWF. So no idea why we can't, we have second and third generation wrestlers. I don't know why he has to be Braun Breaker.
Oh, God damn, that's horrible.
Zach, let me ask you this. Wasn't there a Game of Thrones character that was named...
Stop.
No, hold on. That was named Bran the Breaker, or was it Bran the Builder? Or
Bran the Builder.
Okay, it was Bran the Builder.
But there was also a Braun, right? There was a Braun.
Well, there was Braun. He was not as nerd central here, but Zach and I both read the books. But Braun was the guy that was buddies with Jamie, or whatever.
Oh, yeah. Became the Lord of High Garden, yeah.
Right. But it was Bran the Builder. So when I heard Braun the Breaker, I was like, oh my God, did George R.R. Martin start writing this shit? And I was like, oh, that's Rick Steiner's kid. It's like, okay, well, why not name him Braun Steiner? That too easy?
Yeah, why not take advantage? Yeah, we got Charlotte Flair, but then you also, I don't know, it's just sometimes they allow it and sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
I don't get it either.
But he's got a great look. He seems really good for the time that he's been wrestling, because he was playing, shout out to Blood Girl Raven, he was in the Ravens football camp for all the way up until I think like last year he got cut from camp, and then he's like, all right, fuck it, I'm just going to be a wrestler. And
well, I think it's telling that he came into NXT 2.0 and beat within 4 minutes one of the longest reigning NXT wrestlers, LA Knight, who's been there for at least 5 months.
Yes, I think it is telling him LA Knight was going to be in the main event. And then, putting the cart in front of the horse here, we're doing a, spoiler alert. Tommaso Ciampa wins the NXT title, and it seems like they're positioning. I don't think he's long for it. Like, I feel like they're giving this title to Steiner, or Breaker, rather.
Yes.
Sorry, pretty quickly.
Yep.
So,
Jason, what you think about the new NXT?
Just keeping with this opening theme, it was different because I wrote it down that this NXT, the NXT that we all fawn over, this was AEW before AEW became a thing. Okay? When I started watching NXT, that was when Neville, a.k.a. Pac, was becoming the champion. Sami Zayn was his biggest rival. Sami Zayn won the title, and, an epic story. Then, you had Kevin Owens making his debut, that same takeover, and Kevin Owens, obviously big PWG ROH star. So, I mean, you had Kevin Owens come over, obviously take the title from there, and then you had, in no particular order, guys like Drew McIntyre, Samoa Joe, Shinsuke Nakamura. So, I mean, that NXT was realistically AEW before AEW was even thought about. Okay.
Your indie darling.
Right. Okay. Any indie darling that was, up for contract signed basically with the WWE, and they sent them to NXT, and then every time we looked up, this NXT roster was just more and more loaded. We used to gush about how great the NXT roster was like 2 or 3 years ago. And it was loaded. There's no question about it. You had, the indie darling talent, and then you had guys that WWE were trying to develop in their own system. So in that scenario, that's what AEW is right now. Ultimately, I think this is where I have my own personal, I guess, conflict with it. This NXT on Tuesday is what NXT was designed to be. So this is up to me to kind of just...
Kind of.
No, this is what they wanted NXT to be.
A lot of big ass weddings, wrestling weddings, and developmental wrestling.
No, look, first and
that
foremost,
was like my favorite part of the
first
whole
and foremost, that main evented this whole damn show. Okay, so give that shit to respect. Number one. Number two, I'm saying that the way they set this up, and I said it like 2 weeks ago that it was starting to feel like developmental. They were planting those seeds right then. The Gigi Nolans, the JC Janes, people we haven't seen before, they were giving us that opportunity. And then Tuesday, 2 days ago, it was just like, boom. The whole fucking thing, it was like WandaVision. Things went from black and white to color real quick in one fucking episode, and everything fucking changed. So the whole dynamic of this show has changed. It's not good or it's not bad. It's just different. It's just going to take, for me personally, it's going to take me a little bit to get adjusted to it, because this is going to be 2 hours of developmental wrestling.
That's right. Yeah, I'm willing to give it a chance.
Yeah, I'll roll with it.
After a couple years now of watching NXT on Wednesday or Tuesday nights as a show that was like a fully put together a wrestling show, a 2-hour show. Wasn't that different than AEW Dynamite in terms of the structure of the show and that there were stars and everything. As you guys might know, to host the show, to quarterback the show, I'm the quarterback of the show, you know. So I take a lot.
That make me a wide receiver?
I take a lot of notes.
I'm kind of devious in that scenario. I always think I'm right.
You're a skill position, that's for sure.
I'll just go with wide receiver. I always think I'm right.
I was getting ready.
I got a joke about tight ends in there somewhere.
But when I'm sitting there and I'm watching the show, and I'm like today, I was watching it this morning, and I'm not working right now. I'm on paternity leave, and I'm holding Enda Guerrero, and I'm watching NXT, and I'm trying to write down every single name that comes on this show. And there was 9 matches on this show. No, 10 matches on this show. Pretty sure there was 10 matches on this show in a 2-hour show. I'm not gonna read them all down. Jason's double checking me, but 9 matches on this show.
No, 8. I'm sorry, 8. I apologize.
Are you counting the one where KC turned into a?
I'm counting them as 2 matches.
Okay, all right. So 9 matches on the show. I couldn't write down all the names. Every single name that came up, I was like, I don't know who the fuck this guy is. Okay, here's this guy. And, of course, if I say, here's this guy, Jason's going to be like, oh, yeah, he used to wrestle in MLW for 4 years, and his name was...
this was
Have you ever heard of Braun Breaker?
That's why I was like, who the fuck is this dude? That's why I was like, man,
so
okay.
It is developmental. And as a guy who has defended squash matches in the past... I'm completely fine if they try to pivot to let's make stars out of some people. Let's give them some squash matches. Let's get their finishing moves over. No problem with that at all. This was a really fast-paced show. And it ended with well, we'll get to the wedding in a second. Because as you guys know, I'm a big fan of wrestling weddings. This could have been the worst one.
Hell no, dog.
Nah,
hell no.
There was no shenanigans.
Dude, yes, there was, man. I'm sorry.
Tommaso Ciampa versus Pete Dunne versus LA Knight versus a guy named Von Wagner. Now, how does this guy get put into the main event? Did I miss something? Who the fuck is Von Wagner?
So Kyle O'Reilly got attacked, and he was the guy that saved him. And so, like, Steven Regal just put him in there.
That's kayfabe style.
Kayfabe style.
But who is he, though?
Oh, yeah, I mean, they acted like it was his debut. He's done jobs before on TV, but, I mean, he's just a tall guy, and that's what, I mean, that's what they're doing. Like, and, I mean, they gave him a chance to get in there with some veterans, and, you know, he was green, but, like, it would have been a better match with Kyle O'Reilly, totally, but it wouldn't have been NXT 2.0 either.
Yeah,
so,
it was only it was a 7-minute and 55-second match.
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't think it was that short. Was
that short.
It was like 12:30, 1 o'clock when I was watching it, so neither here nor there. I'll just say this. This is one of the bad things about... You said the 2 things that I didn't like about this NXT 2.0 reboot, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Number one, I'm not saying I know every fucking wrestler, but I mean...
You kind of do.
I mean, legitimately, there were guys on here that I'd never seen before, that I'd never heard of, that was like, okay, let me pause this, gotta write this name down. Okay, let me pause this, let me write this name down. It was shit like that I was like, okay, damn, you couldn't have, we couldn't have had a vignette or, 2 or 3 vignettes coming soon, this person, coming soon, this chick, whatever the case may be. They did that when, like, EC3 and everybody else from those people from NXT came up or whatever the case may be.
No, it's OVW TV.
Dude, it doesn't have to be like that, though. What do we always say?
I'm not in charge of it.
One of the best things that WWE does, and I think we all agree, is like the clips to build the match, the pre-show clip before the match itself. That's in their wheelhouse. All you had to do was take 30 seconds to present some of these people, Braun Breaker, you could have did that 2 weeks ago. Apparently, if this is going to be the king of NXT 2.0, why not drop that nugget in a couple weeks ago versus all of a sudden have this guy on my screen off the jump looking goofy as fuck with a Braun Breaker name? I mean, damn, that threw me off the bat. And then you're going to have him beat one of the guys that you have in the main event for the title itself.
Pretty strange.
That's when I was like, okay, this is just going to be the Wizard of Oz type shit. We're just going to have to sit back and let this thing just happen. I don't get that part. How you going to have this dude be one of the guys that you have in for the main event and just gloss over that shit? And then here comes LA Knight for the main event. No, dude, I know you ain't winning.
OVW TV. Any thoughts about that, Zach? What Jason just said?
Yeah, it was super weird, and it was funny because I put that poll up on Friends of BFR. I need to check the results, but I had LA Knight winning this match because I was like, well, if Vince is writing the show, he's the most Vince type guy. And then that happened. I'm like, well, obviously I should just not expect anything out of this show except for some new faces, or I shouldn't expect to know anything about the direction of the program. So, but yeah, pretty wild.
It was a shock to the system, I'll be honest. I remember when I've talked about this before, when Jinder Mahal told me that he realized that Raw was for children when he realized how many colors they used. And then I saw NXT and I saw some people online being like, "Ooh, I dig the nightclub vibe." It's like, no, man. It's like, this is not.
It was a little much.
It was a lot.
It was a little much. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like the arena where you can see the people versus the CWC where it was like it felt like it was in lockdown or whatever. You know, name your favorite prison fight movie of your choice. But the colors were just a lot. It was almost too over the top.
I didn't like it very much. Let's get to the wedding. I'm a big fan of wrestling weddings. I've always said this. So we have the Index wedding, which is Indy Hartwell and Dexter Lumis. There were barely any shenanigans. Nobody got thrown through anything. He choked out the preacher for some reason, and then he said, "I do," which I kind of popped for. That was pretty funny. That's the first words they said in a long time. What do you think about this wrestling wedding, Zach Pullman?
I loved it. I've actually been pretty critical of the Index thing. I've not been a big fan of Index, but this is actually my favorite part of the entire show. Whenever the priest said, "Does anyone object to this wedding?" and he shows that he has an axe.
I wish a motherfucker would.
That's like the most Dexter Lumis thing I've ever seen.
He pulled that shit out. Motherfuckers in the crowd was like, oh, hang on now. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up.
And, it's one thing that, WWE talks about putting smiles on people's faces, but a lot of times they just generate heat. And here they put smiles on people's faces. Like, they gave us what we wanted to see. And it was a good time.
When you say they gave us what we wanted to see, you mean that they gave us a happy ending with Dexter Lumis and Indy Hartwell. Like, we wanted to see
a happy ending and Dexter Lumis speaking his first words, because it was the perfect time to do it.
Jason, what you think?
Oh, you know me. I thought this shit was Comedy Central from the start. I mean, they were setting this up from the jump. Austin Theory comes back. Damian Priest comes back because we need a priest because Austin Theory doesn't think we have a priest. Damian Priest is like, no, but I'll hang out and shit. Cameron Grimes is basically, the best man out of control. You fast forward to the wedding itself. Indy Hartwell is, spilling the beans about a late night hookup. Zach sold my thunder about the little hatchet in his jacket. That's
you ever had a late night hookup?
Yeah, once or twice. GYV, if you didn't see Grizzled Young Veterans, I thought they stole the show in the background with their reactions to everything. It wasn't the normal WWE wedding, but this isn't the normal WWE NXT anymore. This was 2.0. It was silly enough to where it still incorporated all the funny shit from beginning to end. Johnny up at the top, whatever, being the protective dad. I thought he's one of the MVPs of this whole thing. Why you bullshitting? Dexter Lumis saying his first words. It was fun, and it was a nice capper to what has been one of my favorite stories on NXT in a hot minute. And that will close that chapter, and then that will start to bring in this. They'll catch up to NXT 2.0 with everything else.
Okay, I don't want to talk about this wedding at all.
Wow.
Yeah, like you guys know me. I usually like talking about everything. I think Johnny Gargano's been the MVP of the entire angle. It's nice to see Austin Theory back. You know,
I thought he was gonna fuck shit up. That's when I thought this wedding was going to go south, when Austin Theory came back.
Well, I saw some people on Twitter being like, "Oh, well, this wedding circumvented all the pro wrestling wedding tropes." It's like, I don't want to see the tropes circumvented. I want to see the tropes. Throw somebody through a cake. Do something.
They did it. The train wreck was just in a different way.
And then it looks like we're getting Tommaso Ciampa, who's my dude. Looks like we're getting Tommaso Ciampa versus Braun Breaker for the belt. Looks like I don't know. I know Zach mentioned it.
I don't know. They did a good tease about whether or not this was going to happen or not. I agree. Ultimately, I agree with Two Beer. I think Ciampa is a transitional champion. How long this transition is TBA. I would almost rather see, just kind of looking over at my notes, Pete Dunne. I'd rather see that versus Braun Breaker. I'd rather see Santos Escobar over Braun Breaker. Kyle O'Reilly obviously got jumped in the back and got replaced by poor Von Wagner, who just got booed in that main event. I felt bad for that dude for a few minutes.
He doesn't belong there.
Look,
he got booed because he doesn't belong there.
I know that.
It's not his fault.
I know.
And he knows it's not his fault.
I know. That was one of the bad parts about
Nobody's mad at the talent.
No. They kind of set them up to kind of fail on this one. From there, those are my two biggest problems with it. And then when they had the women come out, Mandy Rose, jumps, not Saray, but Casey Canizero and Caden Cross, and then Caden Carter, I'm sorry. And then obviously, this was main roster 101. It becomes a 6-woman tag.
Isn't Caden Cross a porn chick?
She is a porn chick. That's crazy.
Furiously giggles.
Yeah, right.
I didn't know it was possible for Mandy Rose to get any hotter, but that does not.
I do like the brunette look on her a lot better. It's more of a
she's
natural look.
with feelings and aspirations. But my God, she's beautiful.
Yeah, it ain't right. Yeah.
No, she's a walking smoke show.
She looks like Liv Morgan in high definition.
Liv Morgan ain't. Look, I know there's a lot of Liv Morgan, love out there, but gosh, Liv Morgan is double A versus.
All fucking standard definition too.
Look, Liv Morgan is double A next to Mandy Rose, which is straight up major league prospects. Okay, dare I say she's Vladimir Guerrero.
Hold on, let me pause it right now. I'm going to pause it right now while we are jerk off together.
Y'all going to jerk? Wait,
all right, we're back.
Wait, I'm at my house. You get the fuck out. Take that shit on grab away. They ain't going to know the same way.
On the phone.
I don't know. I watched that episode and AEW Dynamite back to back today. Didn't know what happened in either. I watched them back to back. And, I mean, this is a good time as any to get to the 3 count. 3 count is AEW Dynamite, and I was in love with this show. I got to admit, it opened up with Adam Cole versus Kaz in a pretty good 9-minute match to establish Adam Cole as somebody who can beat Frankie Kazarian, the Elite Killer. Adam Cole goes over, cuts a promo afterwards, sets it up for next week, which is going to be Jurassic Express versus Adam Cole and the Young Bucks. What do you think of that match, Zach?
Oh, it was really good. And unfortunately, AEW has a lot to get to in these 2 hours, as we talked about at length last week. So, I mean, I could have watched this could have been twice as long and it would have been even better, but we do have other things to do. But the biggest takeaway was just how over Adam Cole is. Dude, I mean, he got as big of a reaction as Punk or Danielson or anybody.
It's impossible to overstate how much WWE NXT raised his profile. It's impossible to overstate it because before that, he was a indie guy who was on ROH a lot, and all the indie guys loved him, and he was the man in WWE NXT, and he came out and he was, like Zach said, he was as over as anybody. That was a fucking hot crowd, and we can get to that later. But what do you think of the match, Jason?
The match itself, I thought it was good. Kaz, I've always said it, and I will continue to say it. I think he is one of the underrated wrestlers in any promotion. I don't give a fuck what promotion it is. Kaz can give you, in this case, a good 9-minute match. He can give you 15, 20, whatever the case may be. Ultimately, I think Kaz is going to be there when Kenny Omega coughs up the belt to the Hangman, but that's another story for another time. Adam Cole, baby, obviously looks good, sets up the super quick, so that's another t-shirt that's getting ready to get printed out. That's going to be more money for AEW. I think that trios match is this Friday. Him, Bucks versus...
No, I think it's next week at the Grand Slam.
Is it?
Yeah, well, the Grand Slam is Friday. It's Wednesday and Friday.
No, there is a Friday Rampage. I thought the Friday Rampage had this.
It does, because Christian does the promo later on, and he says, right, you're used to losing on Wednesdays. We'll get ready to lose on Friday.
Nigga, that motherfucker was just fire.
Yeah, he also said, I think that he said to Jungle Boy, I think he does have some good friends because his friends brought him out of developmental. And I was like, oh,
he's been so shit, and he threw out the Wednesday Night Wars. I was like,
pretty good shit. Adam Cole's promo was spot on. He made me hate him again. Like, I love him as a heel.
No,
the way he says "bye-bye," he like kind of tweaked it. I know, this is something that you might not notice unless you watch a lot of wrestling. But he used to say "baby," and now he says "bye-bye," and it makes me want to kill him. Like, I hate Adam Cole so much now. Like,
dog love him
like in a boo the heels type of way.
Right.
Like, I really do want to see Adam Cole get his ass kicked. They do a Butcher and the Blade thing with the Lucha Brothers where they both cut those backstage promos staring right at the camera that work really well. I don't know whose idea this was, but it's working really well for getting... because Butcher and the Blade and Lucha Brothers will probably fight next week.
Yeah, it's on there. It's Wednesday, I think.
Yeah, I want to say. I think it was Wednesday.
But now I want to see it. Like that. All it takes is just a little bit of effort. Just a little bit of effort, and now I want to see the match. They did the same thing with what's his name? Fuego
del
Sol and Sammy Guevara. They said they gave Fuego del Sol a car. He's like, I'm going to bet my car against Miro.
No. I'm like, Sammy, what are you doing? That's
I want to see that match also.
I'm attacking him.
What you think about that, Zach?
Yeah, I know. I felt so bad for him, but I mean, that's the whole point, right?
You get ready to lose your shit.
Yeah.
But if this ends up being a Sammy Guevara versus Miro feud, like, that's a feud that you can buy into. Like, let's watch these guys fight three times over like a couple Dynamites and maybe a pay-per-view.
I can totally be down.
I want to see Guevara versus Miro.
Yeah.
If Eddie doesn't take that title, I think Sammy should, because
I agree.
Sammy is just
100%.
Eddie will get his chance at their Arthur Ashe 2 shows, whether it's Wednesday or Friday, whatever the case may be. If Eddie doesn't win it, then that's where I think you'll have the Sammy Guevara Miro feud, because obviously Miro's getting ready to take Fuego del Sol shit.
MJF comes out next.
Oof.
cuts a promo on
everybody.
Brian Pillman's dad. Brian Pillman Jr.'s dad.
Everybody.
Obviously, he listens to the show
down.
because he. Oh, God damn it! It was such a. He's such an evil guy. He's such an evil guy.
I'm like, man, I'm going to hell because I'm laughing. You going to hell because you look down talking to Brian Pillman. You ain't shit.
Yeah, tremendous promo, tremendous segment from MJF. Zach, what did you think?
Oh, just MJF just continues to be amazing. Whenever he says it sucked harder than Jersey Shore's gang.
So good.
Dude. The thing is he's from Long Island, which is close enough for him to be a hometown hero.
I didn't know that.
But nobody cheered him because he's just so good at getting booed. Like he's never gonna, be that guy.
Yeah, I was interested to see how he got heat in Long Island.
Yeah, I mean he's close enough to home, and the Arthur Ashe he's gonna get heat too because he's just that good.
It was incredible. It wasn't as shocking. I mean, acting like you're pointing at heaven, then being like, "Who are we kidding?" And then speaking to the ground to speak to the late Brian Pillman, who's been dead for 24 years or something like that. I mean, that's real heel stuff and real good stuff. And afterwards, we had JR and Brian Pillman Jr. JR also kind of piled on Brian Pillman Jr. He's like, man, you look pathetic. Or like, he's like, you got beat down. It's like, hey, JR. It's like, why are we putting this on TV? Like, couldn't you have said this in the locker room?
I'll just say this. The MJF, when Brian Pillman came out and he had the chair, and I'm like, okay, you got MJF basically dead to rights. Man, if you are that pissed off, you need to lay the wood on this fool. I mean, just fuck him up. I would ultimately assume that Pillman would lose their Arthur Ashe match in a couple of weeks. There's no reason in the world for him not to get a little, retribution right now, for lack of a better term. It just made that interaction where he didn't take advantage of it and then didn't get Wardlow on the back end. It just felt weird because, you just got insulted the week before, basically at your home court. You got a little measure of revenge at the end. But then now you basically got the guy that was been talking mad shit for the last 2 damn weeks on the fucking apron with chair in hand. Man, shit, I'd have laid the wood on that motherfucker. And the fact that Brian Pillman Jr. didn't do it, that to me was one of the few missteps on Wednesday night. You got that motherfucker.
Should have killed him.
Yeah, I mean, at least hit him once. If Wardlow comes and makes the save, then so be it. But Brian Pillman should have at least hit him once, maybe twice. MJF gets out of the ring. There's a little retribution versus what they did on Wednesday.
Defend it, Zach. Defend it. Defend your AEW.
Yeah, defend your AEW.
No, I'll pass.
We talked about Jurassic Express and Christian. Then we had Matt Sydal and Dante Martin versus FTR. FTR ends up going over in what ended up being a pretty good match. Any thoughts on this, Jason?
Dante Martin, I think, might be the next great hot tag in professional wrestling. He even, and shout out to Boy Girl Raven, I saw her tweet this, I guess, after the fact. He even made the big rig finish looks exciting. You know what I'm saying? So that's one of the things that I took away from it. The second biggest thing I took away from it was the way Cash Wheeler looks. He's the least.
Which one is that?
He's the one that damn near lost his arm.
Not bald. He has hair.
Oh, okay. All right.
The one that got injured.
The one that's not as good as the other one.
Jesus fucking Christ.
That's also accurate, even though they're both really good. But Dawson's on another level.
Dawson's on another level.
But I mean, if Zach and I were at the Tapin family reunion on Saturday, I know Zach's not going to make it, but I'm going to be there. Like, if one of our wives' dad's cousins or whatever were there, and they were describing me and Zach, they'd be like, "Oh, which one you talk about?" If they said, "Oh, the one who looks like a badass," they'd be talking about me, right?
Yeah, right.
You're not gonna be there, Zach, are you, on Saturday, you motherfucker? God
I think
damn
they'd be
it!
talking about Steve.
Oh yeah, they'd be talking about Steve. That's for sure.
True story. Yeah, BFR security. Yeah, Steve's first, two beers.
Well, Steve
third,
could actually
you're in the middle.
beat some ass.
Yeah, right. Legitimately, of any of the four of us, the three of us, and Steve's the one guy that I'll be like, okay, you probably don't want to be messing with this one.
No, yeah,
because he would tie you up and fuck you up real quick. Anyway, back to my point. Cash Wheel looks good. And that, to me, was the biggest thing that I was kind of looking forward to. Just the fact that I think FTR is one of those cornerstone tag teams that AEW doesn't necessarily need, but I'd like to see them do well moving forward, especially after the Cash Wheeler injury. He looked good, and I think FTR ultimately is now more viable moving forward.
Zach.
Oh, yeah, I mean, good showcase for Dante Martin, get him in the ring with one of the best tag teams in the world, best, to ever do it. And yeah, let him rip, man. And he's tagged up with a very good veteran high flyer. So this fulfilled a lot of, it did a lot of things at once that were all positive.
Who went to Mizzou
in the time allowed.
Matt Sydal went to Mizzou.
Oh, Jesus.
Had classes with my brother Jacob. That's true.
I got friends that are close personal friends with him. Yeah, totally.
God,
everybody's name dropping and shit. Okay, come on now.
No,
Let's not name drop. Okay, come on. I think we'd be bigger than this, guys. Come on.
I didn't say a name.
You piggyback off the name that he dropped.
I'm just being a dickhead. All right, so next up we had my close personal friend, John Silver, and Dark Order just looking like they're going to break up. So everybody's ready for them to break up, right?
I am, I'm a Dark Order fan, but this storyline is just a waste of time, and it's kind of annoying, and just put it on BTE or something, because there's a lot of stuff on this show that is better than this. So
I'll have been a Dark Order apologist for a very long time. I don't necessarily mind this. I mean, at least they're doing something versus what it was where it was all about Hangman Page. At least there is some sort of inner strife.
That's what they call the soft bigotry of low expectations. So at least they're doing something.
It's better than what it was.
That's what you say about a monkey that can read.
I didn't know a lot of monkeys can read. Is that a thing?
No, they can't.
Okay, just making sure.
So next up, we got the promo of the year. Promo of the year. Can I play you guys 36 seconds that I taped off of my television?
Oh, dude, you're talking about Dan Lambert, right?
Yes, I am.
Really?
This was the best thing on the show. It was the best thing on the show, and we got a dream match announcement, and this was still the best thing on the show.
Yeah. Wow. Let me play it for you, okay?
If the truth hurts a little too much, cover up your fragile little ears for the next 60 seconds, and I promise you will return to your regularly scheduled programming, at which time you can watch some 5'8", 149-pound dork throw 22 super kicks, climb up 3 levels to the highest balcony of the building, do a backflip all the way down to the floor, crashing through 6 tables onto his lifeless opponent, who will then kick out after a count of 2. And you morons will go crazy.
Incredible promo. Incredible.
I'll say this.
Come on, you like that, right?
You see me over here. I'm not going to sit up here and say that I'm not smiling, because I am smiling. Honestly, I am, because a lot of this shit he is absolutely on the money about.
Yeah, but that's not the point. The point is that's funny.
I know that's what to me that's the funny part about it, because everything he said was check, double check. When he was kicking out of finishers, I thought about you immediately.
Oh, when they kick out of 2. And you morons will go so crazy. What you think, Zach?
Oh, dude, like I said, it was the best. Like, he's essentially playing the character of the real life Jim Cornette.
Oh, damn. Damn. Yeah, that makes sense.
He did this a lot.
That all came together.
He did this a lot in MLW.
When Zach said that.
He did this a lot in MLW, which it still kind of resonated, but I think this bigger platform resonates even more. And the fact that you just said that, I had never thought about that until you just said that right there. This would be Jim Cornette, literally,
dude,
in
a
Dan Lambert's
5'8", 149-pound dork. God damn, that is funny.
He brought the heat.
I love him with Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page, and then I love
because I think that Dan Lambert is now the focus, and the talent is not the focus.
Well, they're just building it up, and then you have Jericho and Hager come out. I'm thinking Page and Scorpio Sky go over, right?
They better. I mean,
Yeah,
if you do all this, and the men of the year don't go over,
the men of the year. God damn, it's so good. Let's see. Oh, I didn't talk about Malachi Black and Cody Rhodes. Is this the best return for Cody Rhodes?
This was a great brawl, and actually, if I had to guess, I would say that this is a thing with TNT crossover advertising because Rosario Dawson was there. So I think it's kind of not out of their hands. They were just like, hey, figure out a way to put, this person on television. And I thought it was a great brawl and had a bunch of heat.
Yeah.
No, then
Zach's right.
No, I'm not saying he's not right, but now let's just call it for what it is. If this was WWE, we would have at least I would have a problem with it, and I had a problem with it there. Okay, you didn't need Dario Rawson to come out. Okay, fuck both you motherfuckers. You didn't Dario Rawson.
No, Rosario Dawson.
Okay, whatever. You didn't need her to come out. That storyline has already been imprinted, done deal. All you had to do
Don't
was
worry,
have
Zach, I got that bookmarked.
Bookmark it. Write it. Take a picture of it. I don't give a fuck. It's not going to be the first time. It ain't going to be the last. The fact of the matter is that you did some WWE shit, and then everybody was like, oh, this is so great. Zach's like, it's a great brawl. We've done this before. It's not like this is the first time we've done this. And now all of a sudden this is acceptable and then this isn't?
No. Yes, I'll push back on this. And the reason why this is okay, and I don't know why they had Rosario Dawson there.
Because of the fucking, whatever this show was.
I said to my wife, I go, man,
whatever
Cody
the show
Rhodes
was,
loves black chicks.
Whatever this show,
he's coming out to he's coming out to defend any 5'11" super hot black chick he can.
Whatever the show was, the big show,
the Go Big Show,
the Go Big Show. Okay, that's the connection. You don't need that connection.
Okay,
he stole your boots,
no,
motherfucker.
It's not a need. Like I said, I'm pretty sure this is a TNT.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Okay. That's fine. Yes, I know it's bullshit. And the thing that I didn't like was that this is Cody's first return since he tried to retire, since Malachi Black beat his ass, right? Right?
Shouldn't that be enough?
No, that's what bothers me. What doesn't bother me is Rosario Dawson.
Yeah,
see,
got your ass too.
Nobody can say her name.
Zach can't. He's the only one that's not banged up a little bit.
So, my problem is that, or my problem would be with WWE is that there's no way they could follow this up, and the rest of the show would suck around it also. So, because AEW does this, and the rest of the show doesn't suck around it, I can deal with it. I can deal with sports entertainment as long as they're giving me a wrestling show right around it. We just saw X-Pac not X-Pac.
That's great.
We saw Pac and Andrade just Friday night. We saw other matches this very show. We also saw Jade Cargill versus Layla Hirsch, which is pretty good.
Yeah, it was a good match.
We saw Punk and Taz. And dare I say, my favorite match of the night, Shawn Spears and Darby Allin.
What the
My favorite match of the night. I loved it. So, because AEW can surround this fucking Rosario Dawson bullshit and Cody Rhodes, if they can surround it with the rest of a good show, then I have no problem with it because it is a variety show. Just give me the wrestling that I want. Am I wrong, Zach?
No, I mean, it's a variety show.
Of course, you go to him.
Just quickly, it's a variety show, and it was brief, right? Like, there was like Rosario Dawson was there, and she was like inserted into
jumped the guardrail, dude. She jumped the guardrail.
MJF was asking for it last week.
She attacked fucking Malachi Black. So let me get this straight. So Malachi Black has just been decimating any and everybody in his wake, and all of a sudden, this woman, Rosario Dawson, is jumping the guardrail and catches him from behind. Come on, dog. He should have kicked that.
Decimating all professional wrestlers. Like, you're thinking a little too hard about this.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying, man.
You're thinking a little bit too hard. Like, I mean, would you want if Rosario Dawson jumped on your back? I'd be ready.
No. See, we ain't talking about JCB. We ain't talking about JCB.
I'd be like, hey, Clerks, you suck.
You're right. Say something about it. No, tackle me. Yeah. Tackle me. Look, we ain't talking about me. Okay, if that shit was me, it would be Edge and Lita's, sex show. Fast forward to 2021. We ain't talking about me. Okay,
but you're acting like it's real, and it ain't real.
I'm asking for a little bit of consistency. We would run this down if this was WWE. At least I would.
This wasn't bad.
It's not apples to apples, though. Like
you just said it. You just said it.
No, I didn't. You
always said sports entertainment. You just said this was sports entertainment.
Can you follow the nuance, please? Does it feel like I'm actually comparing apples to apples?
Did you not just say sports entertainment or no?
I can handle a little bit of sports entertainment. Listen, dude.
Fine.
Hey, man, Daniel Bryan yelling at Kenny Omega in the middle of the ring is sports entertainment.
No, it was
Dan
not.
Callis.
No, it was not.
Don Callis.
No, it was not.
Wait, did I say Dan Callis?
Yes, you did. Yeah.
Don Callis.
What's wrong with you guys?
We're fucked up.
No, he's more fucked up than I.
That's
he's
sports
got
entertainment.
No, it is not. That's wrestling 101. Okay? That is the difference between WWE and AEW. This segment with Cody coming down and saving Rosario Dawson was straight out of the WWE playbook. You had to do it because you had the sponsors up your ass. You have to put this person, Rosario Dawson, out there, and you have to make it work.
It's a multi-million-dollar company.
I'm not saying it is not, Bill. I'm just saying that this is what WWE does. And if I'm going to run them down about it...
comparison. It's a stupid comparison.
Yeah. One has earned the benefit of the doubt and one has lost the benefit of the doubt.
I'm not disagreeing with that either, but to me, ultimately...
Sounds like you are.
I will always say that Hangman Page, until proven otherwise, will beat Kenny Omega for the AEW Championship. And that's when you've had a bunch of other guys make their debuts and all this other nonsense.
Spectacular non sequitur.
No. That goes to the belief that I have belief that AEW will ultimately do the right thing. At the end of the day. WWE, I don't have that belief. I think ultimately they will do what is best for their bottom dollar.
Thank you for agreeing with me. Team Taz came out and fucked with Punk. What do you think about this, Jason?
R.I.P. Punk's back.
They've been bringing over some New Japan tables over here lately because anybody that's been put over a table lately, that table just does not break.
It's about time Punk got put into some peril, though.
No, and this is going to be good for ultimately Powerhouse Hobbs. Hook is just going to be the guy that's going to take some unnecessary bumps because he doesn't have to, but Powerhouse Hobbs is going to be the beneficiary of all this because he's going to have that Punk spotlight on him, and that's going to ultimately be a good thing.
Two Beer.
Oh yeah, I mean, this is kind of the direction that we thought based on conversation last week. So, and like you said, it's good to see him, get put down. I mean, it's good heat, it's good TV.
Zach, what did you think about Darby Allin versus Sean Spears?
I thought it was a good match, and I also enjoyed the aspect of them wiping off Sting's face paint like it was some kind of lucha mask. Like it was, it was like just kind of disrespectful, but also like almost like we've never seen Sting without face paint. You don't really in wrestling, but I mean, he's just
I kept saying to my wife, who was sitting there breastfeeding my child, I kept going, the disrespect, just the disrespect. She's like, have they never seen him without his face paint on? I was like, I never have. She's like, how long has he been wrestling? I was like, I don't know, 40 years. I've just never seen him without his face paint. Like, so disrespectful.
Cheap heat doesn't necessarily mean it's bad heat, and this was straight up cheap heat. I loved it. I'm surprised that you.
I enjoyed the match.
That's what I was just getting ready to say. I'm surprised that you like this match because it's literally two guys on this podcast that you have no problem taking a dump on at any given point in a match, and you like this match.
To be fair, I've never denigrated Darby Allin's in-ring ability.
Fair.
And I've never denigrated Sean Spears' in-ring ability.
Fair.
I've denigrated their charisma. But I do like watching guys fake fight.
Okay.
That's why we're here.
No, for sure.
It was a good fake fight.
No, it was a good fake fight. I just didn't like
the Tope Suicida off of the stairs that Darby Allin put on and then he did the coffin drop.
I thought he was going to do the coffin drop on the stairs where Sean Spears was on the stairs.
I popped.
Yeah.
I popped. Then we had Bryan Danielson versus Kenny Omega in the middle of the ring. Don Callis doing fucking work, man. Am I crazy to say this? That at this point in
Jesus Christ.
September 2021, that Don Callis is greater than Paul Heyman?
Ooh,
because that's how I feel. And maybe it's the product, and maybe it's because it's Kenny Omega. I really think that Don Callis is doing
amazing work.
But
Paul Heyman is doing the same thing. I know we're getting ready to start mixing and matching AEW and WWE here.
When I watch wrestling, and what I want from wrestling is shit to make me laugh. And Don Callis makes me laugh more than anything else. He reminds me, I'm telling you, my template for the best wrestling possible is 99, 2000, 2001 Kurt Angle. That's it. Don Callis reminds me of that.
There's nothing wrong with that. I'll just say this. The opposite of this is Paul Heyman, where now we've had this dominant run, and now here is Brock Lesnar, basically the Roman Reigns kryptonite, and this angle is now where Paul Heyman is in the middle.
Hold on. We'll get to Paul Heyman in a second. Zach, any thoughts on Don Callis?
Don Callis is the greatest. He's just so good. He reminds me of Bobby Heenan so much.
Okay, all right. Stop right now.
Hey, don't cut him off.
No, hang on. So if we're going to do this right now, is Callis better or is Paul Heyman better?
That's not what I asked. I said,
now.
Which one would you rather watch right now?
Okay, that's what I'm asking.
For me, it's Callis, and it's not an AEW WWE thing at all. It's different flavors, and I love the smarmy, like used car salesman, carny, extra wild outfits, and just outrageous jokes that just come out of left field. Like, I mean, shit like Bobby Heenan. One time, I can't remember who he described, but he was saying it was just some jobber, and he's like, whenever his mom packed his lunch, he would wrap his sandwich in a road map.
That's not counts.
hoping that he would leave and not come back. Shit like that just comes out of nowhere.
That's Don Callis.
It
Question.
looks like we're getting Bryan Danielson versus Kenny Omega next week.
Oh, it ain't looking like it. It's going down.
With no belt on the line.
With no belt on the line. Fuck it. Let's do this shit.
I have to say, I fucking love.
Okay, I was going to say, don't make me come over here.
That's AEW sticking to its guns, where you have to win a bunch of matches in order to get one. Like when Adam Cole beat Kazarian at the beginning, and he looked at the camera and he said, that's one for me.
Yeah.
I love this. I want to see this match, and I love that Daniel Bryan said to Kenny Omega in the middle of the ring, maybe this will be for the belt, but let's just do it anyway. So, Zach, who do you think wins?
It's tough because you either have Kenny lose a non-title match again, or you have Danielson lose his first match, and it is a risk, right? But I think Danielson wins.
Jason?
It would be easy to do fuckery on this one, but if you're going to pin me on one or the other, I agree with 2 beer on this one. It would be hard for me to see Daniel Bryan lose his debut. It would make sense that Kenny Omega wins, but as long as we get 20 minutes in ring time, I'm talking about, everybody comes down, and then when the bell rings, from bell to bell, if you give me 20 minutes in the ring, I should be okay with whatever happens, no matter what.
You guys are completely right in everything that you say. You guys have been watching wrestling for 20, 30 years. Not a joke. I'm not trying to joke around.
Okay,
I'm just saying you guys have watched a lot of wrestling. Both of you guys could be right. I've been wrong more often than you guys are wrong. I think that Kenny Omega has to win this, and that Daniel Bryan, let's say it's a perfect world and everybody stays healthy. And then you have Daniel Bryan build up until he gets to Kenny Omega, because Bryan Danielson said in the middle of the ring that he's like, one day this will be for the belt, but how about this time it's just see who's the best. Better. Yes. And I love
that shit.
It's so fucking good.
It's so fucking easy.
It really is.
And that's my biggest problem. The 2 things I think I took away from WWE versus AEW, and it's not even a war, but this is why I like AEW better than WWE. Number 1, they don't insult my intelligence. Okay?
Yep.
I know who...
It's like Sopranos. It's like The Shield. It's like they never bow down. They never say, oh, you're too dumb to understand what's going on here. They're like, oh, The Shield's like, oh, you don't know
you to know.
You don't know who the Bizlats are?
Yeah.
Yeah, you better figure out who the Bizlats are. You're not going to figure this out.
Okay,
right?
You need to catch up or go back and figure this shit out.
Exactly.
Okay, bench this shit and then come back and then watch this.
My man.
Number 2 is this deal. If this was WWE, let's just say it's Goldberg, because that's the guy. Okay, Goldberg would come back and then immediately be thrusted into the title picture with no wins, with no build-up, with no nothing. And that, as much as I've banged them with this wins and losses, the ranking shit, this was the rubber meets the road. Will Daniel Bryan get this title shot? And he said no. And that's why I was like, okay, it's now perfect. I get what I want, and you did the right thing.
Hell yeah.
Boom, boom.
Fuck yeah. What do you think, Zach?
Kudos. Don't even defend your promotion. I'm giving your promotion love.
He's with us.
Run with the victory lap with us.
Yeah, if they tend to do the right thing, even if they don't do the right thing at first, they tend to correct. So, for instance, a perfect example is cutting off Suzuki's music.
You stole my thunder, motherfucker.
I ethered them last week. I was so mad about the Suzuki thing, and then they just turned it into an angle where it's going to end up better than it was before.
Yep. WWE would not do this shit.
They wouldn't even apologize. They wouldn't even recognize that they did something wrong, like not putting Thea Trinidad on SmackDown, which was a great show. But you had a 9/11.
But yes,
the daughter of a 9/11 victim.
Okay.
And in New York, in Madison Square Garden,
it was perfect.
Year, and they didn't even put it on TV.
So, for the listener who doesn't know what we're talking about, the final segment of the AEW show was Moxley and Kingston versus 2.0. They go over. And then
Moxley and Kingston go over. Don't get
Moxley and Kingston go over.
They go over.
And then Suzuki comes out, and Suzuki and Archer have been talking tons of shit. Like immediately when everybody was pissed off that they did not do the Kaze.
Go ahead, Zach.
Kaze Ninare.
Thank you.
For Suzuki's entrance music, they were like, we have to have another match. So they did another match where they're playing another match for next Wednesday where it's Lance Archer and Suzuki, and Lance Archer was in Suzuki-gun in New Japan Pro Wrestling. He was part of his team, and they're going to have a tag team match against Moxley and Eddie Kingston. And man, that's all you want in a wrestling promotion. A wrestling promotion that fucks up one time and says, you know what? We'll run it back. You know what? We'll give the fans what they want. There's nothing wrong with giving the fans what they want, even if it's Moxley and Kingston going over. All you want.
No.
It doesn't matter.
I know it doesn't matter.
It doesn't
Personally,
matter.
I want Suzuki-gun to go over, but I piggyback what you exactly said. They made a negative into a positive. Twitter took this shit over. It became something that was really bad to something funny, and now we have a potential match getting ready to come up.
Yes.
Where I think it's just... They closed out Dynamite with them motherfuckers fighting. So you know it's going to happen. It's just a matter of time, and that's going to be the ultimate,
I got to think this made Two Beer Zach pretty happy.
Oh, it's so great. Wish I could go to New York to Kaze Ninare with the rest of them.
God, I wish I could say that.
Okay, so that's going to do it for our 3 count. All right, before we go, we have to deal with Zach's favorite show of all time, which is SmackDown. Like, Zach loves SmackDown.
I love this show.
That too.
What do you think about SmackDown, Zach?
Man, it ruled.
Brock Lesnar coming out looking like a complete psycho, looking like Dexter on his series finale.
Dude, I'm dead.
Dude, and that was after Roman Reigns came out and basically was talking about AEW without mentioning AEW.
He was. Yep.
We run New York, even though
Right.
AEW is going to have a bigger crowd than
Right.
the MSG crowd,
Right.
like literally next week. But, reactionary. But Roman Reigns as a total babyface running down the AEW product as a babyface, those fans ate it up.
Dude, with
And
a
then
spoon.
the huge pop whenever Brock came out. I mean, this was a hot SmackDown crowd. And, that was a fun opening segment.
So, watching this with my wife after I had already watched AEW with my wife, and she's kind of half asleep, and when Jericho came out and they were singing Juice in my mind, I was like, man, this is the hottest fucking company. You've never seen a company like
Ease
this.
up, baby boy.
Hey, babe, you've never seen a company like this.
No.
And then
Roman is a different animal.
No, I was still right, but she was like, this company also looks pretty hot. I'm like, yeah, but this is the hottest shit they can do. I mean,
Roman is their biggest angle, without question.
Yes, Roman's the biggest angle. I guess my point to her was if Lambert is out there with Scorpio Sky and Chris Jericho and this place is going that crazy, this is about as hot as a company can get. Right?
No.
No? No?
AEW is if you're going to say my biggest big pop, if they can get this done within the 2021 calendar year, Hangman Page beating Kenny Omega, that's the pop. I think that's the pop of the year. I think that would be absolutely.
We've already seen the pop of the year.
No, we have not.
Yeah,
dude.
we have.
No, we haven't.
CM Punk was the pop of the year.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
okay.
I don't think it's going to get better than that.
Okay.
Even if Hangman does win,
okay.
I don't think that pop
Hasn't been better than that in 20 years.
Oh, dude, stop.
Yeah. The only thing that could do better is if Broken Glass was on AEW.
I want to hear.
If you're Broken Glass come out, and Steve Austin walks down that ramp, that's the only thing that's getting better, a bigger pop than CM Punk pop, at least in the near future.
I want to hear what Zach thinks about SmackDown, because Zach actually watched SmackDown this week.
Dude, hello. I'm sitting right here in front of you.
You're not Zach.
Real quick. So that opening segment was
SmackDown
Heyman,
too.
and
You
then
always
was
watch
good.
SmackDown.
There was intrigue with Heyman. Definitely, it's a mind game. So there's a good storyline there, and people want to see Brock and Roman, even though we've seen it a bunch. This is the hottest angle that they have right now, and it's working again. Like, they have chemistry. So the Edge and Rollins match was pay-per-view worthy, and even though the finish was a little wonky, but it was a little funny. But as far as the negatives, I mentioned the Thea Trinidad thing. I didn't like the Becky stuff. I thought it was dumb.
That's what I was getting. Dude, you was getting ready. You stole my thunder. Okay, so apparently Becky Lynch came to WWE, Vince, whomever. I'll just go with Vince, and said she wanted to be the heel coming back. Do you like Becky as the heel? I'm not feeling Big Match Bex or whatever the fuck she's calling herself. It doesn't mesh well for me from what I remember Becky Lynch when she coughed up the title to Asuka because she was pregnant or whatever. But basically Becky Lynch was, I'm fighting everybody and anybody. And now it's like the complete opposite. It's hard for me to, accept that this Big Match Bex is all of a sudden scared of Bianca Belair. What do you think?
Yeah, why fight the current? Like, the current is, she could sell so much more merch. She could generate so much more interest and money for the company and herself. And I know that wrestlers like being heels because it's more fun, but how can, walking out to tens of thousands of people, cheering you also not be fun? And being, the hottest act in the company like she was before, I don't see how that can't be fun either. I think sometimes, you have to say no. And, Vince especially is usually kind of like my way or the highway kind of dude. How did he let him get talked into what is such a terrible idea? I mean, he has terrible ideas on his own,
True.
But he's also been in this business for a long time. I just don't get it.
No, I'll just say this. In this scenario, this is one of those times where if Becky came back and was a babyface about this shit, and I know they pushed this up, and this has kind of been the running theme with this pod for whatever. Everything's kind of been pushed up for a little bit. You didn't have to push Becky up and do it like this. If she came back as babyface and you had a legit match and then Bianca lost, I think that would be more acceptable versus what this is right now. I'm not necessarily mad about Becky Lynch being a heel. Everybody does the babyface heel switch. No, but neither here nor there. I think how they're doing it is the biggest problem with the Becky Lynch storyline moving forward. And then at that point, when they get into the match, that might be the second biggest problem.
All right, what you think about Edge for Seth Rollins? Banger.
Go ahead, Jason. I said it was pay-per-view worthy.
No, he's gone.
Oh, he's gone. Okay, yeah, I absolutely loved it. It was a total pay-per-view match. I mean, they nailed it. It was a funny ending where Rollins just kept kicking him, and he's like, "Why won't you die?" kind of situation. Super kick, super kick, super kick, super kick. And they were trying to put over the fact, Edge came back from a neck injury. So he does the curb stomp, and then he's like almost hesitant to pin him because he thinks that he's going to get up again. The match was great. They carted Edge off, got, kind of supposedly probably be off TV for a minute, or at least, maybe working in some kind of injury. Yeah. But I don't understand Seth's reaction after that. Is he turning babyface or something? It was a weird interview.
Yeah, I actually liked his reaction after that because it seemed like less cartoonish and more like, I tried to kill this guy. Maybe I killed this guy.
I took it one step too far. That's the way I took it from the Seth reaction after the match. Still good match. Great segue. We're going to get to
Usos and Street Profits had a great match. Ended up with a DQ with Roman Reigns, and then you had the Boogeyman come out. What do you think, Jason?
You said the Boogeyman.
Where do you like? Oh, right. Sorry, that's Finn Balor.
Like I said, I guess this ultimately we're doing two things at once. We're gonna give Roman his match for Extreme Rules. We're running it back for the Finn Balor fuckery for the SmackDown match, and we're extending ultimately the bigger picture. We're extending Brock Lesnar more time to build that storyline, build angst versus between Roman and Paul Heyman. To me, that's the storyline. What does Paul Heyman know? How much does he know? Things like that. And we said this, when Roman first got the title, what's next for Roman? What could be interesting for Roman? Paul Heyman, between his two biggest clients, is one of those things we brought up, and now we're getting ready to see it. So I'm excited to see where this shit goes.
Oh, so you think Finn Balor's going to win?
The bad part about it is they getting ready to make that motherfucker lose twice. They're just gonna make him put face paint to do it the second time around.
What do you think is going to happen, Zach?
I think the only reason that he has the demon on is because the demon's never lost, and that's the only way that they can create intrigue. Because otherwise,
that's my dog.
Nobody's going to take it seriously.
That's my dog. That's my dog.
That's your dog?
That's my dog. BFR West in the house. Good, he's right. Good, you can roll your eyes so you want to. He is exactly right.
I agree with it. Anything else you guys want to talk about?
No, we're good.
You sure?
We'll be talking about G1 for the next few weeks. So
PWI 500.
Shit. Yes, that's what I was asking you for. You're supposed to remind me of this shit.
Okay, there you go.
PWI 500.
Okay.
What do you think about the PWI 500?
I have the top 10 written down. I'll just go 10 to 1. 10 is Rich Swann. 9 is Shingo Takagi. 8 is Finn Balor. 7 is Will Ospreay. 6, Jon Moxley. 5, Kota Ibushi. 4 is Drew McIntyre. 3, Bobby Lashley. 2, Roman Reigns, and number 1, obviously, Kenny Omega. So, obviously, I shouldn't say obviously, this ranking was done between July 1st, 2020, and then through July 30th, 2021. So, this is one of those things where you have to kind of, if you watch a lot of wrestling, it's going to be a little jumbled like it was for me for a little bit. I'll say this. I don't have a problem with the top 10. You can mix the top 10 all you want to, except for the top 2 spots. Roman Reigns and Kenny Omega are the top 2 spots. I don't give a fuck which way you want to go on either or. If we're doing it in kayfabe style, I would kind of lean towards Kenny Omega because he has 3 belts in this time span. 3 belts over multiple promotions. Whether he raised Impact up or not, we're just talking about kayfabe. That's a big fucking deal. I love the Roman Reigns story better. Matches, I lean Kenny Omega a little bit. But ultimately, for me, I don't have a problem with PWI putting Kenny Omega as one. For me, it's either one or two. And I don't care which one you want to switch it. One or two. Omega's one in this scenario. Roman Reigns is two. No problem with it.
What do you think, Zach?
I mean, I think it makes sense. It's their method. They've got different methodologies, and kayfabe's pretty heavy in it. But I feel like you just have to give it to Omega because of the multiple belts thing in multiple promotions. It's not unprecedented, but I mean, hasn't happened since Big Man Vader. And Vader did it on 3 continents. He had world titles in 3 continents, so he was even more transcendent than Omega. But still, you just don't normally see this stuff. I remember when I was a kid, Ultimo Dragon had 10 cruiserweight belts, or light heavyweight championships, which was dope. It's just super cool, that belt collector gimmick, and it doesn't happen for a lot of people, especially nowadays. So
I'll say this for the PWI 500, they can do it any way they want to, but to do it with kayfabe added in, it's only designed to make people argue about it.
Oh, for sure.
It's
they know what they're doing.
I listened to an argument. I listened to an interview with Big E today, and he goes, I'm not Cesaro. He's like, I can't just wrestle anybody, any style, anytime. Everybody knows who the best wrestlers are, so throwing kayfabe into it is just fine. I mean, it's fine, but it's kayfabe.
Right. Cesaro is a bad motherfucker.
Yeah, I mean, I care about kayfabe a lot, but I also care about what matches do I want to watch the most. And I would rather watch a Kenny Omega match than a Roman Reigns match.
I won't say that. I won't.
Big E will. Yeah,
Big
you will.
E versus
Big
E versus Roman Reigns has a lot of fucking appeal.
Okay, but what about Big E versus Kenny Omega?
We didn't know that Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso would be good, and then all of a sudden, that first match we all raved about was like, oh my god, this is so good.
But you know that Kenny Omega versus Jey Uso would have been even better.
Okay, let's go like this.
So grow up.
No, let's go like this. Let's see what happens.
Time to grow up.
Nigga, I'm older than you. Fuck you, first and foremost. Secondly.
Yeah, I know.
So secondly, let's see what happens on Wednesday. Because Wednesday is going to be a nice little litmus test of what I think AEW might be doing going forward.
Let's see what happens on Wednesday?
Yeah.
Is that the Jason Bell version of let's see what happens next?
Play that shit out.
All right. And let's talk about the G1 real fast. Will the G1 start before next week?
The 19th, to be here, if I'm not correct.
So the G1 starts before next week. We've already talked about it.
No, I'm going to stick to my guns at this point. For me, Okada is going to be that guy on the B block. But Jeff Cobb's over there. I agree with you, Beer, with Shingo. I love the Shingo story where he's going to be that guy to do it, possibly repeat for the first time in 20 years. I think I got Shingo in the A block. I really got Jeff Cobb in the B block. I'm feeling it. This is where Okada is already made, especially in a scenario where New Japan has a hard time getting eyes on the product in the middle of a pandemic. This might be a good time to do something different.
Who you got, Zach?
Man, I think I'm going to stick with the Shingo thing just because I think it's a cool idea. But yeah, it starts Saturday, so nice little weekend. It's going to be very rainy here in Oregon. We're actually going to get rain for the first time in a month. Yeah.
For those who don't subscribe to New Japan, this is a good time.
$10 a month.
No, this is a good time to do it because the G1 matches are going to be in Japanese and English commentary. So this is a good time, especially Kevin Kelly, who is one of the best, arguably, if not the best, on color commentary. This is a good time to jump into New Japan, the G1, kind of get all the angles in, and then if you like it, you can subscribe for forever, and if you don't, jump off the boat.
I totes recommend.
This is Banned from Ringside.
So we got some birthdays. Teddy DeLong is 74.
How?
Jim Cornette is hold on. I got to do the math.
Christ.
60. Gerald Briscoe is 75. Eva Marie is 37.
For the record, she's not gotten Piper and Evan over. No, I'm never going to forgive that.
Anderson
never going to forgive that. Never. I want a public apology on the record
Greg
right
the
now.
Hammer Valentine.
Right now.
Greg the Hammer Valentine.
R.I.P.
71.
Motherfucker.
Ethan Page is 32.
Even Marie didn't get shit over. We didn't even talk about Eva Marie on fucking Raw.
Thank God. Who the fuck wants to talk about Eva Marie?
Exactly. Go ahead, Tom Brady.
4J's going to need a spell.
Peace, bitches.
For 2 beers, Zach Pullman. For Vice, who had surgery this week.
Shut up.
Yeah. Prayers up. Prayers up for Vice.
Prayers up for Vice.
He's doing good.
Did he get a vasectomy?
Stop.
No. He's still knocking them all up. Bill Vagan. Everybody boo the heels.